everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a full face of new products. I have several new products that I have recently picked up, and sometimes it's easier just to do them all in one video. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to be trying out the new Iconic London Super Smoother Blurring Skin Tint. Also the new concealer from Huda Beauty. This is the Faux to Filter. Okay, so I've had these for a while, but I've not used them on camera yet, so I thought I would throw them in the video. These are the Hermes powders that they launched maybe 2 or 3 months ago. Maybe it's been longer, I don't know, time flies, but these are new to Hermes. I have the matte powder and also the radiant powder, so I'm going to be trying them on and sharing my thoughts with you guys on these powders from Hermes. I also have the new stick bronzer from Merit Beauty, testing that out today. I am trying out a new blush from Ciate London. I have new liquid eyeshadows from Lisa Eldridge. Recently, she launched 6 new shades, so I picked up 2 of the 6. So excited to talk about these. They're so pretty. And I also picked up 2 new shades from her new lipstick. These are called the Luxuriously Lucent Lip Colors, and I got 2 shades of those. So it's just a full face of a bunch of new stuff. I will also be sharing a few swatches of the products that I have and also a few comparisons so you guys can see how they compare. And then once we get through the application and the swatches and comparisons, I will jump into my final thoughts on how I feel about all of the products. So let's go ahead and jump straight into the video. We're gonna first start with foundation, but before we do, I wanted to talk about these. I just had Botox last week. Actually, it's been a week ago, last Monday, and you can kind of see I have this bruise right here that's kind of turned this really weird green color, like this green yellow color. So I just wanted to let you guys know that that is a bruise and all is well. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into this. So we're going to start with this new foundation from Iconic London. This is the Super Smoother Blurring Skin Tint. I actually ordered 3 shades of this, and I only received 2 of the 3 shades. I emailed customer service back on the 7th of September and still haven't heard anything. So I just sent another email asking them, hey, my package was missing a shade. Can you help me? We'll see. But I ordered the neutral shade, which I wish that I would have received the neutral shade because I think these might be a little bit too warm. So the 2 shades that I have are Golden Medium and Golden Tan. And these are very golden. So this is Golden Medium. See how gold it is? Like, it is a very strong tone. And let me kind of blend it out. See how strong of tone that is? It might be a little too golden, but this is Golden Tan. And this one seems to be a little bit more on the olive side, but too dark. So the tones, in my opinion, are a little strong on this one. Just FYI, I think I'm going to use the Golden Medium, but they're definitely strong. I will also swatch these 2 shades next to other shades that I have in my collection so you guys can see how they compare. But if you use me as a shade reference, the golden is just strong, so just be mindful of that. So I'm going to kind of blend that out. I'm going to put some here on the back of my hand. See how I said it makes a mess? So once you shake it and put air into the bottle and then open it, it kind of pops out. So just know that. So I'm going to dip my brush in and just start kind of building this up a little bit. I've heard a lot of people really enjoying this, so I've been excited to try it out. It also feels like it dries and kind of sets down, but you can see as it starts to move around my face, it's really golden. The undertone is really strong. So a little bit of information about this foundation. It is a lightweight, ultra hydrating skin tint that delivers a blurred and flawless satin matte second skin long wearing finish up to 12 hours. It's being described as a light coverage, natural finish, and it is free of parabens. It's also vegan and cruelty free. So I would say this is a light coverage. You can kind of still see some of my imperfections coming through. And I prefer a medium coverage, so we're gonna build it. Let's see, this is such a lightweight formula. It feels like it might be a pretty easy formula to build without it being cakey, but let's see. So I'm gonna dip my brush into a little bit at a time. and just kind of go over the areas that I want a little bit more coverage, which is typically over the place where I have texture, right? Like, I don't have as much texture as I used to. I used to have a lot of texture, but I do think the chemical peel that I had done back in March, they say it takes a while for you to see all of the full results from a chemical peel, and that is absolutely the truth. I've noticed over the last 2 months, my skin has gotten better and better and better, and that's, I think, the effect of the chemical peel. And also, I made a few changes in my skincare routine, so I've been using a lot of Hermès and Chantecaille in my skincare, and I feel like my skin is like the best it's been in a very long time. And if you guys have been kind of curious about a chemical peel, I highly recommend them. Highly recommend it. It's miserable for about a week, but boy, it is fantastic. Fantastic. In fact, I love it so much that I might do it every year. So this one builds coverage, but you do have to kind of keep applying it and applying it to get it there. I would say the description of this is very accurate because it is a natural finish. Definitely, it kind of dries and sets down. It is light coverage, and you do have to build it quite a bit to get it to a medium coverage. With all of that said, let's move on to the concealer. Let's talk about this new concealer from Huda Beauty. So this is called the Faux Filter Luminous Matte Liquid Concealer. And I was actually really excited to try this because I really liked her new version of the Faux Filter. It's kind of a luminous matte. It's exactly what it is. It acts like a matte foundation where it's kind of locked and loaded, but it has a luminosity to it to where it doesn't look like you're wearing a matte foundation. So I was really curious and excited to try this new concealer. I have this in the shade Cookie Dough, which is 4.3 neutral. And I'm glad that this is a neutral shade because this skin tint is so warm. The undertone is so warm that I'm really hoping that the neutral tone in this concealer will kind of tone things down a little bit. This is the applicator. The doe foot is a little bit larger. It's kind of on an angle, and I don't mind it. I'm actually gonna wipe off the applicator. I always like wiping off my concealer applicators so that I'm not applying too much of it. So I'm gonna put some here and here, and maybe like that. Description of this concealer: it is a buildable creamy formula that can flex with medium to full coverage while it visibly brightens and conceals. It is fragrance-free, long-wearing, crease-proof, and made to move with your skin. It's being described as a full coverage, a matte finish. It is infused with conditioning sweet almond oil and vitamin E to delicately nourish without settling into fine lines. This versatile concealer has a lightweight buildable formula that melts into your skin with extended staying power that is waterproof and won't transfer. It effortlessly diminishes the look of dark circles and blemishes while softly blurring and visibly brightening. This concealer comes in 29 shades. So what I can tell you is that I would say this is a medium coverage. It's kind of drying and setting down. I don't know how it's going to look if I try to build it to a full coverage because the way that it kind of dries and sets down, I'm kind of curious if this is one that plays well being layered. So I'm going to try it just for the sake. I probably wouldn't do it, but I'm going to try it for the sake of the video. But I'm going to wipe off the applicator as much as I can get off this applicator and just put a little bit right in the dark area that I need a little bit more coverage. I had a very long weekend. I had food poisoning, so I need some coverage on these black circles. So that built up, like you can see that this has more coverage than this side, and it actually built really well. It doesn't look really heavy and cakey, so I'm not mad at that actually. Let's go ahead and move on to eyeshadow. So Lisa Eldridge, who in my opinion has one of the best liquid eyeshadow formulas, launched 6 new shades, and I picked up 2 of the 6. I really, really love her formulas. They're really easy to apply. They don't get thick and chunky and flake off. They're long wearing. they'll crease a little bit if you get a little bit too heavy-handed, but if you apply just a tiny bit, blend it out, apply a little bit, blend it out, they are perfect. So the two new shades that I picked up is Zora and Maya. I was kind of thinking that it might be a little bit similar to the one that I have, but when I compared like the swatches and stuff, I realized that they're not the same shade. So the other one I'm talking about is Diana, which is one of my favorite rust shades. Oh, it's so pretty. It's like a really pretty rust copper. You guys, the shade is stunning. This is one of her other shades. It's not one of the new 6 shades that she launched. So let me show you what it looks like next to Maya. Oh, it's so pretty. This Maya is a little bit more on the pink side, and it is super, super pretty. So this is Maya. Okay, so they definitely don't look similar at all, which I'm happy about. So let's try the shade Zora. And Zora is the one that I'm gonna wear today. This one is gorgeous. Gorgeous. Like, I think it might be my new favorite shade of liquid eyeshadow. Look at that shade. Is that not so beautiful? I cannot wait to apply it on my eye. It's the whole reason why I wore the black turtleneck, because I felt like this shade is so appropriate for those like black turtleneck kind of sophisticated outfits. Look at that shade, you guys. It is stunning. So pretty. So I am going to be applying Zora today, and I will swatch these shades. I got to get these off. They dry and they set down and they're hard to get off. So hold tight, please. So I like using a brush like this. This is the Rephr number 28. And see, it's kind of flat, right? And I also like using this type of brush. This one is from Sonia G. This is the Builder from her, I can't remember what this is called. I'll put it down here at the bottom screen. My brain's not working, but I like to use this on the lower lash line for cream eyeshadow. And then I like to have a stiffer brush to blend out the crease. I'm gonna use the A501 from BK Beauty and the collaboration with Angie from Hot and Flashy. This is a good kind of stiff brush. You could also use the BK Beauty 206. This one is a great brush as well. Even the 203. The stiffness allows you to be able to blend it out without harsh lines. I will also keep a nice crease brush, like just a nice blending brush. I'll use the Rephr number 13, this one, or the 14, either one. They'll both work great. So there's 2 ways to do it. You can either put it on the back of your hand and grab it from there and apply it, or you can apply it and blend it out. So my first initial application, I will apply a little bit on the lid, blend it out, and from that point, if I need to only add a little bit of product, I'll grab it from the back of my hand. And so I have control over how much I get. First off, I like to have this brush in my other hand. I'm gonna put on a little bit right here. And then I'm gonna take the brush immediately and blend it out. That shade is as pretty as I knew it would be. So now I'm going to take the stiff brush and go over all of those edges. And you do kind of need to work quickly because these do dry and set down. But they also kind of give you time to work with them. They don't dry like so fast that you're kind of in trouble, right? Like they give you time. I'm going to use what's on the brush to kind of come up here into the crease a little bit. Now I'm going to build from there. So I'm going to, oh, that shade is really pretty though, right? Oh, it's just as pretty as I knew it was going to be. Okay, so I am going to put on a tiny bit on the back of my hand, and I'm going to dip my blending brush into it like this and apply. I'm going to take my stiff brush and kind of just buff out those edges. See how that stiff brush just buffed out that line? So while this is still wet, I'm going to dip in on this brush and go here on my lower lash line. So from this point, you could totally leave it, right? I want to add a tiny, tiny bit of definition in the crease, just a little bit. So I'm going to take a neutral tone brown. I have a color in mind. This color right here. This would be a great color to put there in the crease. You'll see how it will kind of make the whole thing kind of pull together. I'm going to go into that shade Nurture in the new Natasha Denona My Dream palette and put it right there. See how adding just a tiny bit kind of pulls it together. If you get into a situation when you're using liquid eyeshadows, if you feel like you have harsh lines or it's not blended right, go in with a neutral transition shade and it will work perfectly. You can even use a finishing powder. So if you have a finishing powder that you like a pressed powder, that will work too. I prefer using an eyeshadow, but either way, it works great. Okay, so now I'm gonna grab a black eyeliner and I'm gonna go up on my waterline to give the lower lash line a little bit of dimension here on the outer corner. I'm gonna take a gray eyeliner pencil and put it right here at my waterline here on the outer corner and then blend it out. These are the Kohl eyeliner pencils from Victoria Beckham Beauty. I'm also going to do that on the upper, and then I'm gonna kind of smoke it out a little bit. It's kind of giving a little bit of shape to the outer corner. So pretty, right? Oh, Lisa Eldridge, you did that. That is a gorgeous shade. The other thing that I want to mention is that sometimes tones like these can be a little bit intimidating, especially with a liquid. This was very, very easy to apply, blend out, build. It's perfect. So I'm back and I just have to say, this eye was just as easy, if not easier, because I wasn't talking and I just went it on, put it on, threw it on, and it's just so fast. And it's a beautiful smoky eye kind of without the hassle, and I'm here for it. Lisa, you did that. You did that. This is probably my new favorite shade of liquid eyeshadow that I own. Well done. She is an artist and she's incredible. All right, let's go into the next product. I picked up this bronzing stick from Merit. I didn't need it. I got it for reviewing purposes only. This is called the Bronze Balm. It is a sheer bronzer. The word sheer concerns me. Oh, I picked up the shade Seine. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's a sheer buildable bronzer to add a wash of natural looking warmth and depth. Natural finish, stick formula. It is a microfine pigments, add a touch of color without covering up your skin's texture. All right, we'll see how it works. I'm just gonna use one of my Sonia G Jumbo base brushes to blend it out. So this is what it looks like. I didn't have the best experience with Merit's foundation. It was a hot mess. Like it lasted for a few hours and it was just a mess. So we'll see how these work. So that's what this color looks like. And it does seem like it's really natural. As you can see, I just blended that out. It's quite natural. So let's just apply it directly on the skin. It's very, very sheer. It's definitely not like the LYS, you guys. The LYS Beauty stick bronzers are hella pigmented. Like the smallest amount is all you need. So I don't really feel like I put anything on. Do you guys like, it doesn't really feel like I put anything on, and it might be because the shade is not very dark and I'm wearing a very, very warm foundation. So that could be a lot of the reasons why this is just really not showing up that well. It's buildable, but it is exactly what it says it is. It's a very light bronzer. So what I can say is there is a market for this bronzer. There is. For those of you out there who felt like maybe the Charlotte Tilbury cream bronzer was just too much pigment, or maybe the LYS Beauty, too much pigment. Like if you've tried liquid or cream bronzers and it's just too much pigment where you feel like you lose control too quickly and you're wanting something a little bit more natural, then this is definitely nice. It's sheer. I can't even really tell I'm wearing it, but I kind of feel like there is a market for this product, even though it's not my personal favorite. Let's move on to blush. Recently, Ciate London has been sending me a ton of PR, like a ton. I think I've received like 3 boxes in the last 2 weeks, and the box is filled with stuff. This was something I was really interested in trying. So this is their go-to blush in shade Summer Fling, and it's an illuminating blush, and it is so cute. Look how cute that is. Let's swatch it first just to see the illumination. Ooh, look at that. It's definitely illuminating. Doesn't have a lot of depth as far as like a lot of color, but it's definitely illuminating. This might be really pretty as a blush topper. So let's try a pink blush. This one. This would go really pretty with it. So this is in the shade She's That Girl. So I'm going to dip into the powder portion, tap off. Kind of using that as the base, right? And then using that as a blush topper. I got a lot of blush on, but I will powder it out. But that blush looks a lot better for me and my complexion as a topper, but it is very beautiful. We're gonna move on to this powder that's new from Hermes, but I've had it for a while. So this is called the Radiant Matte Powder. And then I also have the Radiant Glow Powder. So let me show you guys what these are. I've used them a few times and kind of put them back in their box. They come just like the blushes did in these little packages. And they're also the same size as the blush. So this is the blush, this is the powder. So exact same packaging, which wah, right? Like, come on, Hermes. You guys are charging an arm and a flippin' leg for these. The least you could do is make the packaging different. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, so this one is the matte powder, okay? And it is supposed to be kind of a translucent matte. So that's what it looks like. And I've used it a few times. I have some thoughts. Let me show you what the Radiant looks like. Same packaging, same deal. The Radiant Matte Powder. So this is more like a highlighter powder. I would use this powder as a highlighter. I would not put this powder all over the face. I think it's going to be way too much radiance. As much as I hate to admit it, you guys, one of my favorite highlighters is the one from Hermes. I'm sorry. I did not want to like it, you guys. I didn't want to like a freaking, I don't even know how much this was. It was like 70, 80 bucks. I didn't want to love it. But you guys, I have used this so much, I have a dent in it. I cannot deny the fact that this is one of the prettiest highlighters that I have, period, in my collection. The powders are so stunning and they give the skin such a beautiful glow without being texture heavy, without being too glittery, without being too sparkly, without being too shimmery. Like, it's the perfect combo of all of those combined into one. And I personally love it. On the flip side of that, I'm happy that I love it as much as I do because I paid an arm and a leg for it, but I love it. So I'm okay with paying money for things that I absolutely love, right? And that for me, I love that. I love that highlighter. So let's go over the face with this powder, okay? And I'm just gonna kind of apply it like I would a setting powder, okay? I'm just gonna dip my brush in, tap off, and just set all over my face. So I'm gonna actually take a different brush and apply it directly on the under eye right here, which is typically where I apply my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finishing Powder, but I'm just gonna put this powder in a more direct area. Now, I will say that this powder does do a pretty good job over concealer. Like, it doesn't emphasize or it doesn't look cakey. The problem with this for me is that it's almost a little bit too white. So let's go into this powder. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just gonna apply it like I would a highlighter, right? So I'm gonna go in and pick it up. Now, I don't think this is as near as pretty as the Permabrass, but it is pretty. So the Permabrass has a little bit more of a shimmering aspect to it. It has more of a, like, the finest milled glitter particles in it. So finely milled. And this is more powder. This is more of a straight up shimmer, right? So this is definitely, let me show you the difference. Oh, this thing is so pretty. Look at that. So this is the Permabrass. You can see that they're the same tone. So let me do one more swatch of this new one right here. So you can see that they're kind of the same tone, kind of the same color. The Permabrass has more, like I said, it's got glitter particles in it that are so finely milled though, you guys. They're almost undetectable. You can only really see it when you start to blend it out. I would say this one, this new one right here, this glow powder, is just more of a light, just a shimmer highlight. It doesn't have that same effect on the skin that the Permabrass does. The Permabrass, in my opinion, is very special. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the lips. Lisa Eldridge not only launched new shades in her liquid eyeshadows, but she also launched new lipsticks. So these are called her Luxuriously Lucent Lip Color. And I got two of the shades. So I picked up Kitten Mischief and Rose Official. These are more of a balmy type. They're, you know, normally you guys know that she has that velour velvet matte. Her velvet matte formula is perfect. She also has another one that's kind of a satin finish, but these are definitely more luminous. Look at that. Gorgeous. So this again is the Rose Official. Let me show you what the Kitten Mischief looks like. It's more just a traditional nude. Look at that. These are beautiful. So I'm going to put on Kitten Mischief so you guys can see. These, I would say, are throw in your purse, easy to apply without a mirror type of formula, right? This is such a beautiful shade. It's so pretty. It's kind of a fresh pink color on me. It is just beautiful. All right, okay. So let's try on Rose Official. It's a little bit on the cool tone side, whereas the Kitten Mischief is a little bit warmer. This is a little bit on the cooler tone, but like really natural on the lip. Okay, so this is a final look using all of the products. I have a lot to say about all of the products that I used in today's video. So for now, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the swatches. I'm gonna swatch the products that I used in today's video, also sharing a few comparisons. And then of course, I will jump into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. Let's first start with the skin tint. I see potential with the skin tint. I need a better shade. So this skin tint is designed for just kind of a light coverage, like an everyday throw on a little bit of makeup, like no makeup type of thing. Don't like how it's just completely faded off up here. Like as I just keep touching my head, it just kind of comes off, and that could be because of that bronzer too. But the bottom line is, it's just not my favorite right now. I think if I had a shade that matched my skin better, I might like it better. Because there are things that I like about it. I like that it sets down and it doesn't feel like it's going to slip and slide all over the place. Really need it to match your skin because it's a light coverage. Anytime you're wearing something with light coverage, the closest match that you can get to your natural complexion, the better. Because you're not getting all the coverage that you would get from a medium, and you're going to see your skin come through, and it needs to match so that it doesn't look weird like it does on my forehead, right? So kind of keep that in mind. There are things that I really like about it. I think it's just the shade that's completely throwing this whole thing off. But I do think if you're in the market for a light coverage skin tint, it's pretty, and it does blur. It does kind of have a little bit of that blurring effect. It just looks terrible because it's the wrong shade. That at the end of the day is what it boils down to. But I could see myself using that product if I found the right shade. So let's talk about the concealer really fast. I don't mind this concealer, but I definitely prefer my Charlotte Tilbury concealer over this. It's more hydrating, and I think it has better coverage, because even though this is claiming to be a full coverage, I'm not getting a full coverage out of this because I can still see a lot of my darkness kind of popping through. So that I would say is more of a medium coverage. It is a nice formula though, so I can see why people are raving about it, because it is that hybrid formula where it is a luminous matte. So it acts like a matte, it wears like a matte, but it has a luminosity to it. So I can see the hype behind it. But personally, I still prefer the Charlotte Tilbury, the new Beautiful Skin Concealer. I think that is my new favorite concealer. Absolutely love it. I will also mention this concealer from Huda Beauty is very similar to the one from Dominique Cosmetics. And I was all about this all summer. This was my favorite concealer. It's very similar. I would say I get a little bit better coverage from the Dominique Cosmetics than I do the Huda Beauty, but they're very similar. The way they apply, the way they look, the way they wear. So if you like the Dominique Cosmetics, you'll probably really like the Faux Filter, and vice versa, because they're both good concealers. Let's talk quickly about the bronzer. Not my favorite. I don't even feel like I have bronzer on. This bronzer is definitely designed for those that want more of a natural bronzer. So if you like something more pigmented, I would pass on it. If you don't, it's a nice option. Okay. So the Luminous Blush from Ciate London is gorgeous. I think it's a gorgeous blush topper. If you have fair, light medium skin, you could totally wear this on its own. But if you are my complexion, I recommend using it as a blush topper. But it's beautiful, especially if you like a luminosity to the skin. Whoo, pretty. My favorite thing that I used in today's video is definitely this new shade in this liquid eyeshadow. I am here for this. This is beautiful. And she nailed it. Like, so perfect, so beautiful. I don't have anything like it. And I am so excited she did that. I'm so excited. Of course, I love the lipsticks. They're very comfortable, very lightweight, very beautiful. Okay, let's talk about the Hermes powders. These are not necessary. Don't waste your money on these. These are not necessary. Unless you just have an obsession with Hermes, these are completely a waste. Absolute, unequivocal waste. Take my advice, don't buy these. There's a lot of great finishing powders, and there's a lot of great glow powders out on the market, and these are just not it. So I think that's it, right? I've covered everything. Okay, so that's it for the video. Sound off down below. How many of you guys have picked up any of the products that I've used in today's video, and what are your thoughts? I'm so curious. You guys always have the best recommendations and also the best suggestions and the best advice. I just love it. I love you guys. You guys are the best. I seriously have the best community. I do. And I'm always grateful. So definitely sound off down below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.